Thank you very much for coming today. We're going to talk now about converting a resume to a curriculum vitae. Okay, so what is a resume? A resume is a one-page document that's a summary of relevant factors. What's the difference between that, a curriculum vitae? A curriculum vitae is the record of your professional life. Okay? It's your professional life and your qualifications. So if you look in a lot of websites, they will say by definition that a resume is only supposed to be one page. I had a second-year medical student come to me once and say, "Would you write me a letter of recommendation?" I said, "Sure." I said, "Do you have a resume or a CV?" And she brought it to me. She'd gotten into medical school. She'd done a whole year of medical school, and she gave me one page. And I said, "Oh my goodness, you've done so much more." I wanted to write a strong letter. And she said, "Well, my sister's a business major, and my sister said that resumes are supposed to be one page. And if you look at the career centers and that, they'll say one page or two." And that's not true in science, and it's not true for a curriculum vitae. My curriculum vitae is 40-some pages, and I can tell you professors that are hundreds, whatever. So the thing of it is forget about the resume. You have a curriculum vitae. It has no page limit, and it's going to be detailed of your professional life. You're not going to leave anything out. That would be an ethical issue. So you may have done a resume at some point in time, and I want to talk about the curriculum vitae, but this isn't going to happen tomorrow. So maybe while you're in undergrad, you're going to be doing something which is basically a hybrid of the two, and it will change over time. And these changes are going to parallel your advancements through the educational system. I'll show you a little bit more in another slide, okay? So the biggest thing to remember is you're not writing this to yourself, and this is why you can start to use it like a list, and you're reminding yourself what you did, but you're writing this for a stranger, so it has to be understandable and interpretable to that stranger. So you may put down some activity, and it may be a name of an organization that I hadn't heard of, so you're going to need something short and descriptive. You don't use abbreviations, you give us whole names, and I'll have more on that. So my version of this, and I will send you this, is what you do is you start out, and this is going to be a hybrid, but who are you? The first thing you do on the curriculum vitae is say who you are, how you get a hold of me, how I was educated, and you credential yourself. So here we have Teresa Duello. We have a permanent address and a present address if I were an undergrad and I needed 2 addresses, whatever. Education is always going to go next in a professional resume for a healthcare person or whatever. Licensures, honors, and awards will go through these other categories. But always we're going to start out, I tell you what, I know that Microsoft Word has all these fancy scripts and it has symbols and shadowing and bolds. Forget all that. This is not an art project, okay? You make it clear, you make it readable, you allow your eye to flow, you use one font, you don't do bold and color and underlining and everything at once. This needs to be readable. So what you're going to do here is you're going to have a 1-inch margin. This is where you're not trying to save paper. And the thing about here is you don't have an objective. And I'll tell you, even on a resume, the objective gets so misused. I even have students who would be applying for a job to work with me in a research laboratory, and the objective says, you know, seeking clinical experience. Well, I'm not in a clinic. If you were so lazy that you didn't even change your resume to apply to the job, then how lazy are you going to be about the attitude you take to my work? So we're beyond objectives now, because it's either going to be implied in the application or a cover letter or whatever. And even if you do put an objective down in a resume, then make it relevant to the end point and not something so global it has no meaning anyway. Okay, so we can go quickly through these. We have our name, we have our contact information. Education is always next, okay? Who are you? How do I get a hold of you? And what are your credentials? So I'm going to have education, and then I'm going to have licensures. So maybe you're licensed or certified in CPR, you're certified in this and that. If you're certified by an agency, I want to know who the agency was and that it wasn't somebody out in the hallway. And I will send you that. And then honors and awards. Why should I be impressed with you? You know, I see people put honors and awards at the end. No. Why should I be impressed, and why should I keep reading? Okay? That's what we're looking at here. One font, only the headings in bold, not bold and italics and colons. I don't like the templates with the lines and the boxes. That's not how we do professional ones. So this is what I like, very, very clean. When you put down your education, you have the institution. You can have your major here. If you have the GPA, we want to know on what scale it was. Some people use a 5-point scale instead of a 4-point scale. So if you got a 3.6 and it's a 5 scale, that's a different measure than a 3.6 on a 4 scale. So you're going to put that in here. And your anticipated graduation, when are you going to be available for this job, for admission, whatever. Don't save space, double space, make it readable. Here we have our licensures and certifications, and if you were board certified in a specialty once you're a health professional, this is where it would go, along with the year in which you were certified. So here it's an EMT tech, and it was Baltimore Technical School. So it's a real business company. Oops. Okay, honors and awards. These are honors and awards that the outside world would recognize. This is not just when you felt honored. You know, like I was really honored to be accepted into Dr. Duello's lab. I'm glad, but that's not an honor. Not for your curriculum vitae, okay? So these are the ones the outside world would know. Dean's List, Chancellor, Scholarship, whatever award. That's what you want to put there. So this is all very standard, and after this, it can vary a lot, okay? There's not one way. So again, ask yourself, what makes sense? Well, if you're looking for a research position, then I would put research experience next. But if I were looking for a teaching position, I would put teaching next. Where do I want their eye to go right after honors and awards? And you want it to go to whatever is really important, okay? So you're going to change this around. And again, that's the nice part of copy, click, save. You can have many, many versions of this for different purposes. And if you'd run out of a category, this is not sacred, invent one. Students say, you know what, I've got all of these experiences, but then I had this and I didn't know what to do with it. So we just make up a new category. We can do that, okay? So not to worry. So here, one of the biggest problems, whether students do resumes or CVs, this is where people in general really fall down. And it's in the description. So here's research experience. I like the title, department, institution, city, and state. Even if it's Madison, Wisconsin, and you're applying for the job in Wisconsin, you're writing this for a stranger. You're writing this for somebody else. You put in the time that you did it here. This is just like addressing an envelope, okay? Most specific, down to the state. Big issue in how sophisticated and informed and intelligent you look in writing these descriptions, okay? So again, I have examination of the role of gonadotropin-releasing hormone on human chorionic gonadotrophin, another hormone, in term placenta to assess placental insufficiency. What I've got here is what did you do, what's it important, and maybe what you found. I could have put in, I demonstrated 2 forms of this or that. I know what the experimental animal was, I know what we were studying, I know what the effect of one hormone on the other what. People oftentimes are just way too casual about this, and they say research experience, Smith lab. Excuse me, who's Smith? All professors have a first name and a last name. And rather than putting it in the Duello lab, you may not know Duello, I put down here supervisor, advisor, mentor, and then put that. Now you have my name there. If I am on your list of letters of recommendation, they now know what your relationship was to me. You worked with me, okay? So that's a good way to do it. If you need help at all, it's probably going to be in writing these descriptions. So you want, just like the elevator speech and just like the paragraph I want you to have in your back pocket, it's a clear, concise, lucid statement of the research you conducted. The same as I said before, who you worked with, Teresa Duello, where, OB-GYN, what did you study, disparate burden of infant mortality to African American women, what did you do, what did you find, why is it important? And yes, you can do that in just a few sentences. I can help. Okay, line things up, make it readable so we can see, abbreviate, don't say July and August, say summer. You just don't need it messy and you don't need it that specific. The only time you use an abbreviation is when you use it later in the essay for something else. So don't use abbreviations, spell them out. I want to know what that acronym stands for. Another big place where students oftentimes don't realize is it'll give the title of a poster that they did, and it'll maybe say biochem department. You're a scientist. You're selling yourself as a scientist. You're selling yourself as a health professional. Okay? You're going to use a standard bibliographic format. There were other authors. Who besides Duello? Duello, Daniil. This was the title, and then this was the meeting and the location and the date. So whether it's an abstract or whether it's a publication, you want to do it this way. You're always giving credit to the rest of the authors. It's exactly like you do at the end of a term paper or something. Okay, medical setting experience. You can put clinical experience, you can put dental experience, you can put lots of other things, but I still like the same format. What was your title? Where was it at? For who? City, state? And then you may want to describe it here. Most people won't know what the Blue Bus Clinic is. Develop and distribute information or prevention of HIV. So do you need a a description to follow that? Same thing here. Most of us know what Habitat for Humanity is, but you can say construction of 2 homes, whatever. Okay? You want to fault on more information instead of less, but you don't want to fault on the side of a lot of words. If you look at these, I'll show you we use phrases and statements. There are no pronouns here, okay? Not we, I, me, you. We're being very crisp and precise in our scientific descriptions. Same thing here. You may belong here, Professional Association of Latinos for Medical School Access. We can figure out what this organization's about, but you still might want to put something down about exactly what was your role with that organization. If you need to create a category, here I do outreach presentations, and I can list all of those. So what happens is oftentimes people put work experience, and they put research and clinical and McDonald's and everything in the same category, but you want them to focus it if it's research or teaching. And then if you just need a catch-all list, you can put other work insurance here. And you're not going to put working at McDonald's and Hardee's on this CV anyway. But here, you might, this is insurance-related work, so I would put that in. Okay? So it's subjective. You don't put your references in the curriculum vitae, you put them on another page. Don't assume that they're going to call, give them post office information, phone number, email, and I like over here to have you indicate what your relationship was. If the name Teresa Duello doesn't appear in your CV, then why are you asking Teresa Duello for a letter? So this is just explanatory in terms of what the relationship was. So after you've done this, what you want to do is have somebody critique it, not just the people you love, not just the people who share living space, not one graduate student or whatever. You want to have other people look at it as well to kind of give you an outside opinion. Always spell check. If you're not careful with your CV, why do I think you're going to be careful on the job? Okay? Sloppiness, the same thing. There's some categories that you don't put in a CV. Your height, weight, social security number, okay? Reasons for leaving a previous job, never. Pictures of yourself. This is not Facebook, okay? So no pictures. Salary information, you can't omit positions held. It's ethical issue, absolutely, to delete something because you didn't want to put it there. The other thing is in these descriptions, they're not full sentences, they're phrases. They are crisp, they are concise, they are lucid. I like to use nouns. Supervision of da-da-da-da-da children, development of rather than this. And don't use the INGs. I hate the word researching. I'm not sure what that is. And students tend to use participles instead, you know, investigate, whatever. It's just very clear to use an active verb or a noun here. Cleans it up a whole bunch. Don't use personal pronouns, don't use excessive punctuation. I don't like bullet points. Set it off with indentation. It's got to be flawless. The other thing is I put, do not include high school information after your junior year. So in this class, Ways of Knowing, that I teach, I said, who has a resume? The students raised their hand. I said, send them to me. And then I gave them some instruction, and they sent me in a draft. And then I sent them an email and said, okay, now go back to your resume and take out everything that had to do with high school. And because by the time you're a junior and senior, there's just things that are much more important that supersede that. And I got these emails saying, but Dr. Duello, if I take out high school, there's nothing left. There's the message. Okay, what do you want there by the time you graduate? Okay, what do you want your CV to look like? So the next assignment is think about it, plan ahead. What do you want to add to your CV? And if you come and talk to me, I can tell you what you need to have on your CV in your particular situation. All of my advice is free. I've come by it here, this advice, over 32 years. However, I do have an internet website, Pre-Med Edit, and through this is a business. I give assistance to students writing summer research applications, essays, personal statements for professional school and graduate school and residencies, whatever. So it's really nobody's job to edit your writing, so basically I do this as an off-campus thing. No ghostwriting. I'm going to teach you to write. And what it is we always go through 2 drafts. Somebody said, well, can't I just send you one? And I said, the first time I tell you what you need to change, and then I need to know whether you changed it, whether you understood me, okay? So anyway, you've got postcards there, and you can check this out. And like I said, any kind of application, curriculum vitae, I'll be happy to take a look at it. Thank you very much.